Payware Scenarios are dumb and stupid in every single possible way, and any person who likes it is a big fat willy! By Maverick Hunter Daniel. The foreword. For the sake of brevity, I'll only be focusing on Payware Scenarios created for the UK side of the Train Simulator community. This is due to my lack of available interest, knowledge, and research into the respective German and USA sides. What is a scenario? In Train Simulator, a scenario is where a player is tasked with completing a service, driving a train from point A to point B. Said services can be based off real-world operations, such as London Waterloo to Woking, or be semi- or entirely fictional. Scenarios can sometimes feature multiple goals, be split into multiple parts, or be bundled into a pack with a specific theme. Anyone who plays the game has access to the scenario editor to create their own scenarios. No additional software or DLC is needed to create a scenario. So, what's a payware scenario? Well, they're just like freeware scenarios, except payware. That is to say, they cannot be obtained without making some form of payment. This payment can either be for the pack itself or be locked behind some form of subscription. That's it, that's all I got. Now, why is this a problem? As I said earlier, anyone who has the game can make a scenario for free without any external software. You don't even need an internet connection. Not everybody has the time to create scenarios. However, anyone can download scenarios for free from places like UKTS, the Steam Workshop, ATS, Vulcan Productions, DP Simulations, etc. On the Steam Workshop alone, there are around 20,000 scenarios to download. UKTS is around 2,000, not counting scenario packs. For free. In order to fully justify a payware scenario, you need to, whilst acknowledging the tens of thousands of existing free scenarios, finish the following statement. My scenarios are better than all these other scenarios, including other payware ones, and thus worth insert price here, because... If it wasn't obvious already, I don't like payware scenarios. I naturally object to the concept because it's anti-consumer. People are already spending hundreds of pounds on routes, trains, wagons, coaches, enhancements, modifications, and you want their money for scenarios too? This makes them far less accessible than freeware scenarios. They aren't any better than what the freeware community can usually provide on a frequent basis. More info later. They don't support the community. Who gets the dot at the end of the day? Not me, that's for sure. And I'm part of the community. They can end up creating hostile discussions between those who like versus those who object. And not to mention, they can discourage new players. Let's do a comparison. This is the South London to Brighton Rush Hour Scenario Pack, which is available from UK Train Sim. It contains 19 scenarios, uses the 2012 working timetables and rolling stock diagrams. Scenarios vary in difficulty and length. It doesn't use the AP 319 or the MKS 460 because neither existed at the time of release. It includes ECS workings. Total playtime is 805 minutes or 13.42 hours rounded, and the total price is a very agreeable £0 and 0 pence. On the payware side, we have the Working Timetable Midland Mainline Derby to Sheffield 2000 scenario pack. This contains 16 scenarios. It uses the 2000 working timetables and rolling stock diagrams. Scenarios vary in difficulty and length. It includes freight workings and ECS workings. Total playtime is 682 minutes, or 11.37 hours rounded, and it's all yours for £5.99. So comparing them side by side, both scenario packs use their respective reference material, both scenario packs include different difficulty levels, both use a variety of stock where applicable, both scenarios have passenger and ECS workings, both have a large amount of playtime, and the freeware one's actually more by a few hours. So knowing all that, where the hell is that $5.99 going to? ISP or electricity bills? Well, if that's the case, why aren't you practicing what you preach and giving me money to watch this video in the first place? Come on. Some people may try to move the goalposts regarding the freeware scenario pack and say it's not worth it due to UKTS's slow download speeds. Which I agree that UKTS has crap download speeds. But to retort, I downloaded it myself and it took me around 2 minutes. 4 if you count queue waiting. You could be waiting for that long just booting up the game, so if you haven't got the patience to wait a couple minutes, that's a personal problem. Common responses to criticism. Oh dear. I spent a long time making it. No offense, but I don't care. Harsh? Yes, but it's also honest. It feels like an attempt to pull emotional heartstrings, and, it's not going to work on me, because if you try it, on me at least, you're just going to get frostbite. There's no automatic correlation between the time spent on something and its overall quality or justification. A chocolate kettle is still going to be useless no matter how many years you made it. What about freeware scenario packs that have more scenarios? Did the creators of those spend any time on it? If you don't like it, then just don't buy it. I fully understand why people would say this. It's a very easy and juvenile phrase to throw around. However, I would highly appreciate arguments and discussions from people with a higher IQ than a refrigerator, thank you. This argument is nothing more than an anti-comment. It adds nothing to the discussion, just attempts to tell people just to get lost, pretty much. Also, no, I don't buy your scenario packs, so, You expect us to do all this work for nothing? Well, in this case, yeah. Take a look at the various freeware reskins, patches and routes created by the community, some of which you're just piggybacking off the success of. None of these examples are behind paywalls and have arguably more work than any of these payware scenarios. Also, has everyone just forgotten about the UKTS freeware packs? I mean, 2013 wasn't that long ago. It's the creator's choice to make it payware. Help! Help! I'm drowning in strawman! Nobody is saying that it isn't their choice, plus we aren't even talking about that. This feels like an attempt to derail the topic and make it personal. It usually results in more pity points being thrown around. This further results in the topic being partially or fully derailed. There's a similar response to this which goes, "You're not being forced to get it." Said response can be replied with the same points above, or just doesn't deserve its own slide, and just can't be bothered. Really. And last of all, you're just being jealous. Right, so once the bottom of the barrel has been reached, one must use the barrel instead. I'm not jealous of being desperate. Why would I want to be jealous when I could make my own scenarios or download some free ones? Even then, of all the people to be jealous of in the world, Payware scenario creators wouldn't even make it to my list. The Queen of England still is alive, by the way. Additional thoughts. It feels like with every passing month, the TS community is becoming more and more greedy with regards to created content. Not everybody, obviously, but a distinct few. Personally, I seldom use other people's scenarios, simply because my enjoyment from the game comes from being creative, such as route building, especially building fictional routes, or using fictional routes and reskins. Even then, I still think that players deserve better than being treated as neutral entities to potentially e-beg from. Some of these payware scenario creators don't even respect the requests of developers and or other reskinners who say, "Don't make payware scenarios with this." The TS community can already be seen as quite hostile in some places, so I honestly can't be surprised any further by these. Final notes. I have no desire to go out my way to physically stop everyone from making payware scenarios. That's not the point of this video. Instead, I will treat them in the same fashion as I do with flat earthers. That is to say, you can keep making them, and I'll continue to laugh at the concept. Nothing personal, mate. I just haven't been convinced after only 11 odd years of playing this kind of game. You're more than welcome to try for the 12th though. Also, if it wasn't too obvious, the opening voice line I did for this video was a joke. You can continue to like Payware Scenarios until the heat death of the universe for all I care. If you are a Payware Scenario creator yourself and fuming by what I said, consider the following. If you make content and you are unable to take criticism, you really shouldn't make content. Without feedback and critique, you cannot further your skills in your work, or even as a person. What are you gonna do? Stick your fingers in your ears and pretend all those mean and evil critics have gone away? This was a problem I suffered with growing up, especially during my heyday of Sparta remixes. To give you an example, when I was uploading a Sparta remix and it got even one dislike, I'd like the video to balance it out because I could not handle the idea of a video getting a dislike. Lord forbid if it got 2 dislikes. I'd be in tatters because it told me, oh, I'm a failure. Nowadays, I laugh when I get dislikes. In fact, when I did the bonus episode for my news show and it started getting dislikes, I was going, yes, yes, yes. And that should tell you something about the kind of person I am. But then I matured and just began to accept my faults regarding the Sparta remix thing and do my best to work with them and develop my skills. Nowadays I love taking criticism and feedback. Yes, even if I don't agree with it. Why? Well, it gives me something to work with or to listen to, and I love listening to other people's viewpoints. I'm not perfect, neither are you lot. Perfection is impossible, but there's always room for improvement. Thank you very much for watching. The video has now ended.